What if I told you that you're only using 40% of your capacity? That 60% of your potential is locked inside you, waiting to be unleashed. This man went from obese, depressed, and with no future, to becoming an elite Navy SEAL, ultra-endurance athlete, and world record breaker. And he guarantees anyone can do the same. Today, I'm going to tell you the brutal and inspiring story of David Goggins in the book Can't Hurt Me, and the 7 challenges he proposes for you to unlock your true potential. Get ready, because this story will shake you. Chapter 1. A Childhood of Suffering. David Goggins was born in 1975 in New York. But his childhood had none of the normal joys that other children knew. At 6 years old, he, his mother, and his older brother were forced to work at his father's skating rink. Almost every night of the week, they worked until midnight. David took care of the skates, and when they finished, they slept in the office with the shrill music from the rink blasting. The result? He regularly fell asleep at school and couldn't concentrate in class. But the worst was yet to come. David frequently witnessed his father beating his mother for trivial reasons. If he tried to intervene, he would get beaten too. His mother considered suicide several times. At 8 years old, thanks to the help of a neighbor, his mother managed to escape. They drove to a small town called Brazil in Indiana and started a new life. But David's older brother? He decided to go back to their abusive father. From that moment on, David and his mother only had each other. Challenge number 1. Write down all your difficulties. David challenges you now. Grab a notebook, open your phone's notes app, and write everything. The factors limiting your growth. The obstacles you face. The things that hurt you. The situations that caused physical or psychological pain. Write for a minute without stopping. Then, share it with someone or acknowledge it privately. It will be difficult, but this will allow you to overcome your difficulties. You'll use this list as fuel for your ultimate success. And if you're enjoying this summary, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's go on this transformation journey together. Chapter 2. The Truth Hurts. Escaping from his abusive father didn't make David's life better. The following years continued to be difficult. His stepfather, a man who treated him and his mother very well, was murdered at their doorstep. The police never found out why. As a result of his abusive upbringing and anxiety, David struggled to keep up. To avoid failing grades, he learned to cheat on exams. It was the only way to pass. But he wasn't learning anything, and school became an academic and emotional nightmare. Living his adolescence in a mostly white community, David also suffered daily and explicit racism. One day, he received an anonymous note in class. "Nigger, we're going to kill you." His car was vandalized. He and a friend were threatened in town. But the most humiliating moment he suffered from racism was when the father of the girl he liked pulled her arm publicly, forbidding her to meet him again because he was black. David lived in pain, without purpose, as if he had given up on any kind of success. But he still had a dream: to join the Air Force. 2 events convinced him that he needed to change. He failed the Air Force entrance test. He received a letter saying he wouldn't graduate if his grades didn't improve, which deeply disappointed his mother. One night, after taking a shower, David looked in the mirror and didn't like the failed young man he saw. He shaved his beard and hair. He was desperate for change and wanted to become someone new. Challenge. Come here to own the truth of your shortcomings. David created what he calls the accountability mirror. Here's your second challenge. Write all your insecurities, dreams, and goals on post-it notes and stick them on your mirror. Be brutally honest. If you need more education, remember that you have to work hard because you're not smart enough. Don't tell yourself that you're lazy, and it's okay to be overweight if deep down you want to be thin. But assume you're fat if you want to lose weight. It's okay to be cruel to yourself at such times, because we need thicker skin to improve life. Self-improvement requires dedication and self-discipline. Divide your goals into smaller goals. If you're trying to lose 10 kilo, your first post-it might be losing 2 kilo in the first week. When that goal is reached, remove it and write the next goal. Every night, David looked at his accountability mirror, faced his demons, and told himself where he had failed that day. He learned that being resilient helped him achieve his goals. Living purposefully changed everything for him. Chapter 3. The Impossible Task. David was unhappy with his work, his married life, and his body. He worked in pest control at night, and every day after his shift he would eat a high-calorie breakfast. He was using food to deal with the harsh realities of his life, unqualified, uneducated, heading toward a dead-end future. One morning after work, David saw a documentary about Navy SEALs in training. SEALs are the elite combat force, and their training is the hardest in the world. Watching the recruits struggle with mud, sweat, and tears, he was paralyzed by their mental toughness, determination, and peak fitness. Suddenly, he wanted to join them more than he ever wanted to do anything. David spent the next few weeks calling Navy recruiters, begging them for the opportunity to train as a SEAL. There was an open training program. But two problems. The program would close in a few months. David was way overweight. The maximum allowable weight was 191 pounds, and he weighed 297 pounds. This meant he would have less than 3 months to lose more than 106 pounds. He wasn't intimidated. For the next 3 months, he established a routine. Wake up at 4:30 every day, 2 hours on the exercise bike, 2 hours of swimming, intensive weight training workout, another 2 hours of cycling after dinner. Within 2 weeks, he had lost 55 pounds. When the deadline for submission came, he was fit. If you're finding this story incredible, comment below which moment has impacted you the most so far. And share this video with that friend who needs to hear this. Challenge number 3. Get out of your comfort zone. The first step in the journey toward an armored mind is to regularly get out of your comfort zone. Open your journal again and write down all the things you don't like doing or that make you uncomfortable, especially the things you know are good for you. Then, pick one of them and do it several times. Doing little things that make you uncomfortable will help strengthen you. The more uncomfortable you become, the stronger you will become, and the sooner you will develop a more productive dialogue with yourself in stressful situations. Chapter 4. Taking Souls. The training to become a SEAL consists of 6 months of intense physical and mental endurance activities, including the famous 130-hour Hell Week. David tells us in detail each exercise he had to face, as well as the persecution of his instructors to make him give up. Although he often wondered why he had chosen to be there, David explains that everything in life is a mental game, and this game is the most important battle you have ever faced. Throughout his training, David employed a concept called taking souls, in which he sought to gain tactical and psychological advantage over his instructors at every opportunity. SEAL training is a mind game, and people don't realize it until it's too late. The mind game is that all pain eventually ends, and when you understand that, it just becomes a matter of enduring enough. David explains that all physical and emotional distress is finite. His advice? Smile at pain and watch it disappear for at least a second or two. According to David, remembering where you came from and the obstacles you overcame is a source of motivation when the feeling of quitting really comes into play. Doubts assault us constantly. We can allow them to be present, but never dominate us, or failure is guaranteed. Challenge number 4. Choose your opponent and defeat them with excellence. Choose any competitive situation you are in nowadays. Who is your opponent? Is it your teacher, coach, boss, or an undisciplined client? No matter how they are treating you, you can earn their respect with excellence. Work harder at it than ever. Do everything exactly as they ask, and whatever standard they set as the ideal outcome, you should try to exceed it far beyond expectations. If you are being pursued by a teacher, start doing high-quality work. If it's by your boss, work overtime and get to work before him. Your goal is to get your opponent to watch you reaching your goals. You want them to think how amazing you are. Take their negativity and use it to master your task with all your might. Chapter 5. Armored Mind. After 2 attempts at training with Navy SEAL and having to retire for medical reasons, David Goggins tried one more time. He knew he had come a long way, but this was a difficult time, and he knew he only had one more chance. After facing Hell Week for the 3rd time with so much intense exercise, he developed stress fractures in his legs. However, a typical week of training required running more than 56 miles. Determined to pass or die trying, David taped improvised splints on his legs every day to make sure he could continue with the evaluations. He thought the only way to guarantee failure would be giving up. He had to endure the pain of running with broken legs, or else it would be his failure. For several days he performed the ritual of waking up early, putting splints on his legs, enduring extreme pain, and surviving it. The only way to endure his pain was through his ability to visualize his future success. These mental exercises helped propel him through tough times and toward his goals. David managed to graduate as a Navy SEAL by doing things he never thought possible, such as running with his broken legs. He realized that the human mind is capable of wonderful things if it is armored, not allowing fear, pain, or discouragement to prevent him from achieving his goals. Turn on the channel notifications so you don't miss the next summaries. And tell me, what's your biggest mental challenge right now? Challenge number 5. Visualize challenges and find your fuel. Instead of focusing on things you can't change, imagine visualizing the things you can. Choose any obstacle in your path or set a new goal and visualize overcoming or conquering it. You may not be prepared for everything, but if there is an early preview engagement, you will be as prepared as possible. Be sure to visualize the challenges that are likely to arise and determine how you will tackle the problems as they arise. It also means being prepared to answer simple questions. Why are you doing this? Where does what you are using as fuel come from? What hardened your mind? Don't forget that visualization is just the first step. You must work and accomplish these things. This challenge doesn't have to be physical, and victory doesn't mean you have to arrive first. It could mean that you have overcome a life of fear or any obstacle that has frightened you in the past. Chapter 6. This is not about a trophy. In 2005, David decided to face a new challenge: long-distance running. He decided to participate in the 24-hour American National Championship in San Diego, where athletes from across the country ran for 24 consecutive hours to cover 100 miles. However, although he continued his routine of going to the gym daily, he had not trained for running in a long time, which left his cardiovascular system without resistance. At first, in the first 4 hours of running, he managed to cover 25 miles. Soon he began to feel pain in his hips, feet, which began to bleed, and all over his body. After passing the halfway point, the pain hit him in waves. At mile 70, he couldn't take another step forward. He was dizzy and dehydrated. He had run this distance in 12 hours without training, and that was his reward. Even so, David didn't give up until he had completed the race. He sought strength in his cookie jar. This term refers to his childhood. As a child, his mother created a cookie jar in which he could grab 1 or 2 cookies at a time. He delighted himself in a feeling of gratitude for a simple cookie. To make an analogy, the cookie jar is where you put all your wins and all the times you show resilience and mental toughness. When you need motivation, open the cookie jar and remember all the great things you have accomplished. It is not meant to make you feel good. It is to remember your victories and to use that energy when you need it. David finished the race by walking but covered 101 miles without any previous training. Pain and suffering were his trophy. He had dominated his own mind. Challenge number 6. Create your achievement. Cookie jar. Take inventory of your cookie jar. Open your journal and write down all your achievements, including obstacles you have overcome, such as quitting smoking or stuttering. Add the little tasks that you failed earlier in life but tried again a second or third time and finally succeeded. Feel what it was like to overcome these struggles and win. Then, get to work. Set ambitious goals before each workout and let those victories lead you to new personal achievements. When the pain hits and tries to stop you from reaching your goal, sink your fist. Pull out a cookie and delight in it. Chapter 7. The most powerful weapon, the 40% rule. David had started running to raise money for families who lost relatives in the Navy or Army. The race David chose was Badwater 135, a 135-mile race that includes one of the most challenging elevations and the most sweltering heat of any other race in the world. Leading competitors complete the course in less than 48 hours, which is quite amazing. David was accepted as a Badwater 135 competitor in 2006. After running 101 miles without any training, this time he trained as hard as he could, carefully studying the terrain and training in the extreme heat in which the race would take place. When race day finally arrived, all the training paid off. He completed the Badwater 135 in just 30 hours, which meant he was in 5th place. In addition to training in advance, David had one more belief that helped him overcome himself. He believes that, as a governor in a car that creates an artificial speed limit, we also have an internal governor, preventing us from reaching our full potential. It's what he calls the 40% rule, which means that most of us, when we think we're done, actually have 60% more effort to make. For him, this rule is powerful because if you follow it, it will divert your mind to new levels of performance and excellence in sport and life. The only way to get over 40% is by armoring your mind day after day. This means that you will have to chase the pain as if it were your job. If this video changed something in you, hit that like button and share it. And tell me, are you living at 40% or are you going to seek the missing 60%? Challenge number 7. Remove the ever-growing internal governor. You should slowly start removing the governor from your brain. Imagine that you are running on a treadmill or doing a series of push-ups, And then you have reached the point where you are so tired and in pain that your mind is begging you to stop. When you reach this level of tiredness, try only 5 to 10% more. This gradual increase will help prevent injury and allow your body and mind to slowly adapt to your new workload. It also resets your baseline, which is important because you will increase your workload by 5 to 10% the following week, and so on. The newfound mental strength and confidence you gain from continuing to work hard will be transferred to other aspects of your life. Chapter the S. 8. Talent not required. David decided to face another challenge in his life, a long-distance triathlon, which consisted of swimming 2.4 miles, followed by 112 miles of cycling and ending with a marathon run. The swimming took longer than he expected, and his body began to hurt. The cycling was not as he expected. His tire blew and he had to use an old bicycle until his tire was changed. Even so, he managed to finish in third place on the second day. Finally, in the marathon, David started running fast. But by the time he reached the 30th mile, he was walking more than running. Anyway, he managed to pass in first place on the finish line. Even so, he was second in the triathlon because in the overall race he was 10 minutes behind the first place. He was only able to complete this triathlon thanks to his hard work of training. This hard work requires relentless discipline and prioritization. According to David, we need to decide what is important and prioritize it. David explains that the number one excuse we use is lack of time. But the truth is, we make time for what is really important to us. Talent is not required. What is required is hard work, discipline, and an armored mind. David Goggins showed us that transformation is not about where you start, but about how far you're willing to go. From a childhood of abuse and racism, from obesity and depression, he became a Navy SEAL, ultra-endurance athlete, and an icon of mental strength. Recap of the 7 challenges. Write down all your difficulties, create your accountability mirror. Get out of your comfort zone regularly, take souls with excellence. Visualize your challenges, build your cookie jar. Remove your internal governor. Remember, you are living only 40% of your potential. The other 60% are waiting for you on the other side of pain, discomfort, and fear. The question is, are you going to seek them? Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave in the comments which challenge you're going to start today. See you in the next summary. Focus, strength, and faith.